our lives swap. Oh, we sing your praise every day of our lives.
What's up, guys? Marcellus Williams, aka TheSwolefessor, education on health, fitness, social well-being. Welcome to episode 5 of Get It Done, the prep series for Powerlifting American Nationals, where my goal is to come in and hit a 1,600-pound plus total. And it's week 2. It's week 2 of the block. We are officially 2 weeks out from Nationals as of today, and I'm feeling all right. At this point, I'm more used to training my SBD Saturdays and SBD Fridays. I'm used to it as far as like my exposure time between sessions is normalized, but my life circumstances obviously haven't changed, right? Like my Thursday workload is still my Thursday workload. My Friday workload is still my Friday workload. And one of the cool things about Saturday is I had everything set up with my schedule to where on Saturdays, like I don't have any client check-ins. I typically don't have any blocks to ride on Saturdays because I make sure I get everything done earlier in the week. I just have to respond to my clients between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. Central, because Saturday's a half work day for me compared to my usual 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And, it's just set up for me to come in and be able to focus on the training, whereas on Fridays, I can't do that, obviously. I still have my usual work, usual check-ins, blocks I have to get done. My communication is more frequent because I have more clients to get back to and stuff like that. But with that being said, I'm not gonna have to worry about that actual meet week, obviously. Like I'll be locked in and be good to go, so I won't be too worried about that. As far as on the day that I actually compete. But it's playing a role with things, like I'm not necessarily as recovered doing this day on a Friday as I would be on a Saturday, right? But I still feel strong. I still feel the way that I should. I just know there's a little bit more, acute factors of fatigue that are playing a role with things. Like my legs felt like a little bit more sore today than they probably would, with having more rest and stuff like that on the rest that I would typically get today. But that being said, everything's moving as it should. For the top set of squats, we still improved by 5 kilos over last block. Because last block we had a triple on week 2 with 207.5. Today we had a top double with 212.5, and that moved well. Back downs were smooth, just 2.5 more than what I did for my 3x5 on this week last block. So increasing at the more aggressive pace on each one at the top end, steady incremental increases on the back down sets, and everything went well. And I expect bench to feel, okay. Deadlifts will feel okay. And in general, I'm not worried because week 2s never feel amazing anyway. But I'm doing what I need to do today to set myself up for the week 3, the 1 week out mark, and then we'll be in a good spot. But yeah, man, just gonna take y'all through this session, give y'all my thoughts. Y'all already know how we do, man. Let's get it done. All right, so you guys just saw me hit my 2 singles with 162.5. Keeping in mind that on this week, last block for the 2 singles, I hit 147.5 for the first one, and then 160 for the second. So to hit 162.5 for both singles on the same week for this block, that's really big. That's a huge improvement. And I figured I'd be able to because I hit 147.5 for my 2 singles on week 1 of this block. It's just so funny how it always works though, because my boy Josh Hall, shout out to you, Josh. I know you're watching this right now. You always keep with the YouTube channel. But he, and also incredibly strong lifter. If you guys don't follow him, I'll put his name on screen. Follow him. Very positive dude, strong lifter. Check him out. But he is somebody that I like how observant he is, how much he pays attention to the trends and stuff like that. Because he pointed out, he's like, man, if you look at your bench as far as the lows you're touching, the speed on like week 1 and 2, even a week 3, it does not look like you're gonna hit what you do on week 4. And it's funny because my speed in terms of the relative load is the best on week 4, despite it being like the heaviest weight. Like you guys remember, for this past block on the week 4 when I hit the 396 pound, the 180 kilo all-time PR, my last one was 160 and it flew, I smoked it. It might as well have been like 140, right? It's just so funny because the week 3 before that, I hit 160 for my first single and 165 for the second. And based off the 165, it looks like maybe I'll have 2.5 to 5 kilos more, maybe all out on the next week 4. It doesn't look like I'm gonna hit 10 to 15 kilos more easier, but that's just how it goes. I was just on a podcast, the StatCast, which if you guys have not checked out that podcast, I strongly suggest you do. It's hosted by my boy Anas and David Shelton, and it's very informative. I've been on one episode already. My coach Brad's been on an episode. They've had Joe Borstein on an episode. It's just really good because they focus more on trying to educate people on principles of powerlifting, not getting too caught up in just one specific style or structure, but the principles that you can take and apply to whatever structure or style of training that you're utilizing. And this most recent episode that we just recorded, which I'm not sure when it'll drop, but it was really, really good because we were talking about rep profiles as far as like, what do you get out of each given rep? Why do we do some high rep sets versus low rep sets? How does the load on the bar matter in terms of things like force production? What are we getting out of the rep as far as a strength stimulus, a hypertrophy stimulus, a skill stimulus as far as just technique, right? And for me, I just know that when it comes to the bench specifically, when it comes to these heavier sets, I'm not so much worried about how fast it's moving. I'm more worried about like how well am I able to maintain tension and position, that skill aspect of being under this heavier weight. Because I know that due to everything else that I'm doing in the background, whether it be to focus more on like more explosive strength stimulus or hypertrophy through like my back down sets or my work sets throughout the week, or pushing things like when weighted dips, I know it's ultimately all going to lead into my week 4 being as strong as it needs to be on all ends in terms of feeling technically proficient, feeling very explosive off the chest, having the ability to maintain position and tension and drive through all the way to lockout. And it was almost like a 3-hour-long podcast. We covered a lot. I'm not gonna try to cover all that right here. But the point is, I know my trends. I know how my bench is, my squat, my deadlift. I know what feels good for a week 2, regardless of what it looks like. And I trust that and trust the trends to know that I'm gonna show up well on week 4. And that's the thing you have to learn. Like, everyone's different. For some people, you do have to pay more attention to the speed of your lifts. For other people, how well you maintain position. For other people, how light or heavy is the weight feeling. There's all these different aspects of fitness that you have to account for. And each rep we do and all the work we do, we're hitting all these aspects of fitness. But based upon the type of lifter you are, how much muscle mass you have, how you're leveraged, you might focus on certain aspects of fitness more than others to kind of know if you're trending in the right direction. But anyway, I'm really happy with how that moved. And we're gonna see how these back downs go. I know they're gonna be smooth, but yeah, we're in a really good spot. I'm actually happier with bench than what I was with squats, just because, I mean, there's no reason not to be happy with squats. It's just a matter of like, I'm only really ever happy with squats on week 4. Like, it just in terms of how they feel. It moved fine. But bench is something where it's like, okay, hey, this actually felt pretty good for week 2. Whereas squats is like, week 1 feels all right, week 2 feels all right, week 3, feels a little bit better. And now I just feel like a new man on week 4. But anyway, let's get to these back downs. All right, guys, so bench back downs went well. And as you guys know, I have ranges for these back downs, and I adjust as I need to set to set. Typically on weeks 1 and 2, I can do the high end of the range assigned for the first couple of sets, sometimes even all 3 sets. But at third set, the exertion is pretty high. The bar speed slows down quite a bit. And unlike with my heavy singles, where I'm more focused on technique and positioning, I do want a certain amount of speed and force production with my back downs. One, just to ensure that they're not getting too high in exertion and causing too much fatigue. I'm not doing all these bench sets for like hypertrophy, getting as close clear as possible. And 2, because I don't want to get in the habit of getting my body to like just lift slow. I still want to have some of that explosiveness. So I did my first couple sets 132.5, and that moved well. And then for the third set, Brad already has it set for me to have a lower range for the third set because we know how things deviate. Because you also the first set moved well, but then the bar speed dropped quite a bit by that second set. So then I went to the high end of the lower range given for the third set, which was 122.5, and that moved well. Very smooth overall. So really happy with that. And then typically on weeks 3 and 4, what ends up happening is just the first set is the higher than range, and then I adjust the weight back for sets 2 and 3. That's typically how it goes. Obviously on this week where I won't have back downs, it'll be me day. But yeah, bench felt good, especially for the fact that, well, 2 things that I forgot to mention. One, as you guys can see, unlike on Saturdays, I have no one here really to spot me or lift me off. So that does make a difference for me on my top end in terms of the amount of tension position I can keep when unracking. So that's why I'm also really happy with how bench moved as far as the top sets. And then you guys already know we increased my bench volume last block, right? Went from a 3x4 on my day 3 bench to a 4x4. Went from 4x6 to 5x5 on my day 4 bench. And then my day 5 bench, we went from 3x3 to 3x4. But as of this block, we turned that 3x4 on my primary day to a 3x5, just to be safe, get that extra volume in. And it felt really good this past priming session. So the fact that we're doing this much workload and still feeling good, I know as I continue to adapt to this workload throughout this block, I'm gonna feel better going to the meet than I did at the end of the last block. So really excited about that. But yeah, just gotta do deadlifts and then we're done. I might show you guys leg press and press downs today. Just kind of depends on how much time we have because your boy's in a hurry because it's Friday and it's not as free as Saturday. Anyway. All right, guys, so we are back at the crib. Like I said, I was thinking about showing you all the leg press and the press downs, but I checked the time. I'm like, all right, I need to get back home so I can make sure I'm home in time to do some of these last check-ins for the day, get caught up on all the work DMs. You know what I'm saying? Work before play, man. At the end of the day, YouTube sort of is, it is a form of play. I ain't getting paid for this. But with that being said, deadlifts felt really, really good. And my deadlifts are very much like the opposite of my squat in the sense of I don't have to progress workload on them a lot on the top end or the back downs for weeks 1 through 3 to get a bigger outcome on the week 4. And part of that is because of how much harder I push the squat and the lower body accessory work block to block. Like just getting that steady uptick on the deadlifts is fine. Like for example, I only did 2.5 kg more for both my top set and 2.5 kg more for my back down sets on week 2 today than what I did compared to week 2 of last block. So everything felt good. I feel very automatic. My positioning and tech feels great. I don't have to think about anything. Just once again, the increase we've done in the total volume, the amount of total reps I'm getting in, that skill practice. I feel good. I feel strong. I have a really good drive off the floor right now, especially for a week 2. So really happy with that. And as far as the accessory work, it did go well. Leg press, single arm press downs, got low progression over last week. In a relatively higher point in terms of load than where I was at week 2 of last block. And don't worry, man. It's like once we done Powerlifting American Nationals, y'all gonna see all types of accessory work. Not even accessory work, as my boy Nas says, the essentials. That's what it's gonna be. It's that right now, but it's really gonna be that after Nationals because the focus is gonna be just pushing all of these movements as hard as possible, not just the big 3 itself. So I'm excited for that. But yeah, today was a good day. It was a good session. I think the fact that I am once again on a week 2, which tends to not be the best feeling week, hitting the most workload that I have though on the week 2, especially for the whole macro and really I think just in general in terms of what I've done, period, especially since going to this format months and months ago since we switched to it last year. It's just I feel good. I feel strong. I feel confident. I know what I'm capable of. And because I know my trends, I know how things feel, I don't freak out if something feels a little bit heavier than usual or not quite as good as usual, because I know the difference between something feeling a little bit off because of external variables versus, oh, there's something that we need to fix programming wise. Like, I've never been more confident in the game plan in terms of what we have laid out programming wise. I've never been more confident to know that, okay, I'm looking at the plans. Me and Brad and I already went over the attempts, what we plan to do. I've never been more confident in the plan, the jumps, and my ability just to go in and execute because I know I'm going to be able to do it. So I'm really excited. And yeah, I mean, we have one more episode after this, and then it's going to be that finale. But that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you did. If not, leave a comment down below. Let me know what can get better. Like the video, share, subscribe. Keep it simple, specific, scientific. I'll catch you guys later.